What is going on, everyone? Hello and welcome back here into another edition of Next Gen Jets. Appreciate you all tuning in here on this Sunday, April 27th, 2025. Make sure you all smash that like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and it helps us grow significantly here on the show. A lot of Jets news. Draft wrapped up yesterday. We're going to cover the latest surrounding the New York Jets. We appreciate you all. Super Chats memberships also go a long way here on the show. They get you raffle entries. Can't thank you enough for all your support. Throw all your questions in the chat for us. You can call into the show with the pinned comment. Chris, second time in 24 hours. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Excited to break down each and every pick, dissect it, if you will, and with you guys. So it's always fun to be on with you guys, especially on a night like tonight.
Jack, first time in about 27 weeks. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you, man? I'm glad to do this again. This is 7th edition now, I think?
I don't know. I'm not keeping track.
I think it's 7.
How long have we known each other? That's
2 months.
Down to the hour.
2.5 months.
Down to the second. It's the funniest thing. I was on call. We were on call the other day, and I was like, so how long have we known each other now? Like a month? And Jack was like, are you kidding me? It's been 2 months, 6 days, 4 hours, 27 minutes, and 2 seconds.
I remember the date I first called in. It was like February 22nd.
What do you remember?
I don't know. I have a good memory.
I do, too. I don't remember the day. Actually, I might.
All right, bro.
When was the day I first called into the Jake Asman show?
Oh, like December 23rd, 2020.
So for me, it was like
No.
somewhere in November.
Yeah, like.
Chris, I remember when you called into the Matt O'Leary pregame show.
Oh, what is that?
My fluffy hair.
We flashed that tape before.
Oh, we have?
Yes. Not on the show.
Not on air, but
Not live on this show, but we've shown the tape before for sure. But anyways, we appreciate you guys as always. And John comes in right away and he wants in on the raffle. He gives a membership, John. That's a raffle entry. Appreciate all of your support. As always, Jimmy with the comment of the day thus far. Go Panthers. And
I don't know who's relating to that.
Chris, we have before we get into the show, everyone, we have a transcript that was provided by Jimmy last night, Chris. So we are
no.
It's still there. Oh no, the comments got taken down on last night's show, but
hi.
He had a transcript. He pulled the exact from what you said about the Panthers, and it was and we were right. So Chris was a Panthers fan, so go blue, whatever that is.
You kind of look like Luke Kuechly.
Go blue, yeah, go Panthers.
Luke Kuechly looks like Ken Clark.
Like who?
Ken Clark.
Who?
You know who Ken Clark is? Superman. Clark Kent.
You said
Clark Kent? What?
Whatever. I'm
yeah,
on a movie.
That note, that's
not a Charles Gorman type.
That's where we end the superhero talk and get into all things Jets. Chris, obviously we were on last night after the draft had ended, so we kind of gave our initial reaction. Went into the chat a lot. Didn't really break down every single pick, especially day 3. We spoke a lot about Membou and Taylor, though. Jack, I'm going to throw it to you first. We're going to go around the round table here. Let me pull up the list of picks the Jets did make. So here are all the selections. The Jets made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, including 2 trade ups. Jack, we'll start with Arman Membou. How do you grade out this pick for New York?
I think this is a solid A- right for me because the Jets got their future franchise right tackle in Arman Membou. My want was Tyler Warren. I really wanted my pass catcher in here, but overall this was still a very solid pick. In a dream scenario for me, I would have gone Warren at 7.
Let's go. Keep it going. I'm going to be pulling up these comments. So
I would have got Warren at 7, Ursa at 42, and that would have been just fine for me. But, Membou's a great right tackle out of Missouri, and I'm excited to see what he can do with this team. So I give it a solid B+ or A-.
Chris?
Going with the Arman Membou pick, I agree with Jack almost verbatim there. I would have rather seen them to pick a Tyler Warren and address pass catcher first because I believe we needed a better player to fill tight end or wide receiver than offensive tackle because we already had a solid O-line. So I'm in the realm of Jack. I give this pick like a B+. I do like the idea of solidifying both sides of the offensive line for the next decade. However, that caused us to wait too long on wide receiver and we not get a great. I mean, we don't know what Mason Taylor is, but doesn't like the pick, so we would have like to see him get some better quality positions at pass catcher. So I guess pick a B+ in itself, but I would have rather seen them address pass catchers sooner than take offensive tackle first.
I give it an A. I wanted Tyler Warren. That would have been pretty much an A+ for me. I give this an A, though. You get all 5 of your offensive linemen in place ahead of the 2025 season. We know how, the games, let's be real. I know we want pass catchers, and I was in that realm, but the game of football is won and lost in the trenches. The Jets try to build up their offensive line. I mean, this is what the Detroit Lions did with the first pick of the regime that's still there, and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and look how it's panned out for them. So I give this Arman Membou pick an A for the Jets, solidifying all 5 spots of the offensive line. I'll kick off the next pick here myself, number 42 overall, Mason Taylor. I'm not a big Mason Taylor fan. Don't like how he's played in line. I like his route running ability, like his hands, but don't like how he is as a blocker overall. He has the size to play in line. He just hasn't shown that yet. I would have much rather preferred a guy like Harold Fannin Jr. With this pick if they wanted to go tight end at number 42 overall, but they do choose Taylor. I'm going to give this a C. It probably would have been a C- for me if they went with a receiver here, just because I didn't think the overall value with receiver was best. But tight end, a position of need. The Jets kind of help patch that hole a little bit by bringing in Taylor, who I expect to be the week 1 starter for this team at tight end. So C, a mad pick. He can develop into a solid player. He just doesn't have that proven track record in college like a guy that Harold Fannin Jr. brings to the table. C for me, Chris.
I'm higher on this pick in general than you are. I think after picking Arman Membou, it had to be pass catcher. Like I didn't really care which order after Arman Membou. I just said best pass catcher available at that point. So if they thought it was Mason Taylor, then fine. I'm fine with that pick. I think I'd give Mason Taylor along somewhere along the lines of B- to B because we're not sure how he is as a blocker, but obviously we love what he can bring to the table potentially as a receiver and what this offensive coordinator has in store for him and how much targets he'll really get in this offense and have time to shine. And obviously, our tight end coach used to be an O-line coach, so that will obviously help in the development of him as a blocker. I know Connor loves to hear me say that.
And I told you last night, Chris, what if he's Keith Carter?
What if no one can be as bad as Keith Carter? That is an all-time low, brother. But yeah, I give this pick somewhere in the lines of B- to just a regular B because we don't really know what he is as a blocker. He can develop, but we don't know what anybody is at the end of the day. So I'm giving this pick a B. Jack, what about you?
I'm going to give this a solid C. I'm going to agree with Connor here. And I'm putting it right split down the middle because A, yes, we got a pass catcher, which was fine. But B, it wasn't the guy who I wanted, A. It wasn't the guy. Yeah, Trey Harris. Since Jaden Higgins already got picked by, I believe, the Houston Texans at 34, Trey Harris was my next guy in line. He was the hair after Jaden Higgins for me. And we passed on him. And, I think he would have made a solid wide receiver 2 for this team. Instead, we waited on a wide receiver 2 who I don't even think will be the wide receiver 2 in Arian Smith at 110. And I get Connor saying he would have picked Fannin here, right? I think that I would much rather have Fannin over Taylor any day, but I feel like we should have played it safe. Yes, I've realized that Fannin did get picked, like 3 picks or something before the Jets got Thomas from FSU, the corner. However, I think we should have just played it safe and got our wide receiver 2 there in Trey Harris because there's more tight end depth if you think about it in this draft than receiver depth. So I feel like we should have just played it safe and got a receiver. But overall, at least we got a pass catcher. So that's just a solid C right down the middle.
Jack, I agree with you, but one thing I will mention about this pick is that if we would have went the receiver that we all would have wanted and took Trey Harris, the receiver, Harold Fannin would have been off the board by the time we got to our 3rd round pick. So it is kind of smart that, in hindsight, that they addressed tight end as early as we did in a guy like Mason Taylor. Because if we would have took receiver here, we would have waited on tight end. Harold Fannin would have been gone. Whoever really getting that's a good value pick.
Gunnar Helm.
Okay.
Jackson Haas.
I like the Mason Taylor.
Conyers went undrafted.
That's crazy.
I wrote an article. I put it out literally the second the draft ended of the 3 undrafted free agents the Jets should get. Bond was at 3. Conyers was at 2. Of course, Conyers got picked up right away. And Nazir Stackhouse was at 1.
I'll tell you what, though, Connor. The one of our UDFAs that I really like is Donovan Edwards. I really love Edwards.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the I love it. I give the UDF. The UDFAs have been incredible thus far. So we'll get into them in a little, but keep it going. 73 overall, Azareye'h Thomas. Jack.
I mean, Probably one of the lows of this draft, I would say. Again, we passed on a receiver here. We just paid Brandon Stevens $36 million. I didn't see the need in getting another corner, especially if you have a good backup as in Michael Carter II. I really feel like this, I wouldn't say a wasted pick because we don't know. We really don't know here. But you pass on another chance to get a receiver. Who was still on the board? Noel was still on the board. Royals was still on the board. We, passed on both of those guys. Noel out of Iowa State paired well with Jaden Higgins. I feel like that would have been a good pick for the Jets, and we passed on another receiver. So, I'm going to give this one a solid C-.
Just C for me, just because it's a great player, awful position. You sign someone $36 million to play that position. You use a top 75 pick on a guy who plays that same position as the guy you paid $36 million across a 3-year deal. It's a C for me because I like the player. I don't like the overall positional value. I was not very happy with this pick, but you have to look at the player that you got. I think it was kind of the best player mentality here for the Jets at 73, Chris.
Yeah, so clarify something for me. What are we grading on, the player or the where he was picked in the position?
Half positional value, half player.
Right, so starting off the evaluation here, he's from Florida State, obviously a tough kid. I don't like the position at all.
Florida State.
I feel like this pick at corner here caused us to wait way too long to address wide receiver 2, because now you don't even know if you're getting a wide receiver 2 with Arian Smith. The answer to that is probably not. So I would have loved if they would have just addressed pass catcher here, so that we got a good enough player to fill the massive hole we have at wide receiver 2. However, listen, my explanation for this in real time during the draft stream was, maybe Glenn and Wilkes have a plan, have something up their sleeve for a defensive scheme that will require a type of player like Thomas, a physical corner who can lock down a whole side of the field, win in press coverage, get up in someone's face. So listen, I trust Aaron Glenn, a former corner, at drafting cornerbacks, if that makes sense. I trust him to pick defensive players and use them and draft them for traits and then develop them into a really solid player that can play next to Sauce. So I like the pick. I do not like the position. I agree with Connor there. I think it was obvious that we needed to go receiver here. So I'll give this pick a C to C plus, because I hate the position. It causes us to wait way too long on getting a wide receiver, but the player has serious potential, especially with the coaches that Glenn and Wilkes are and can be.
Next up, 110 overall, Arian Smith. My thought process behind this pick is the Bills traded up and leapfrogged the Jets to draft Deonte Walker from Kentucky. I think the Jets might have been eyeing Walker because it's someone, who's a big interior defensive lineman, and one of the biggest gripes a lot of people held against the Jets coming away from this draft class is they did not use a draft pick on a defensive lineman. So I think this might have been somewhat of a panic pick for Muji and Glenn. But this is what I'll say about Arian Smith. Just a track star, a pure speedster who you hope to get down the field, and you're able to coach the drops out of him. One major concern, though, is he had 10 drops last year and only 5 missed tackles. A speedster, you're hoping he can be elusive. You're hoping he can be an elusive receiver. 4th round is far too rich in my eyes for a guy like Smith. He's more of a 6th, 7th round guy, maybe even a priority UDFA guy. Jalen Royals was on the board here. Another massive whiff for New York. I give this pick a D. Jack?
You finally got your receiver in the draft, but at what cost? You already moved past Trey Harris. You already moved past Noel. You already moved past Royals. At what cost? At this point, it really doesn't mean much. Lazard is at this point is our wide receiver 2 as of right now. I see Smith being another one of those mid-draft busts for the New York Jets. Like you said, he could have been a UDFA. I'm glad that we finally got a receiver, but it's not the one I had in mind, nor the one that I wanted. I'm gonna give this one a solid C-, I think.
Chris?
I think you guys are being a little too harsh on this pick, or maybe I just trust Aaron Glenn too much. In my eyes,
second one.
That's the answer.
In my eyes, I feel like Glenn and Muji turned on the tape for all these guys, and they saw traits, they saw qualities that they can coach up and to be solid players. Obviously, we know an elite tool Arian Smith has is his speed. The problem, though, is just consistency, catching the ball. But obviously, technique can be worked on. This is a guy that they're going to obviously take time to develop, and a guy that they can use as a secret weapon in Engstrand's scheme. A guy who, at his ceiling, can probably be a guy like J-Mo if you really fix and refine all the catching issues. So I'll give this pick a C- for now. I'm excited to see what they do with him, though. And the thing is, good regimes, good coaching staffs, they turn players like this, developmental players, and they make them solid to above average starters. So I'm excited to see if this regime is really the real deal. These guys will really turn into be difference makers one day.
Sounds a lot like Malachi Corley to me.
Yeah,
I think Malachi Corley is Malachi Corley is the most overhated player on this team. Honestly, I think that
I've never hated Malachi Morley. I got so much hate last summer when I said this guy is not going to have any role on the team's offense, and I got called crazy. There were Jet fans out there saying that he was going to have 800,000 yard year. I said this guy I don't think is going to be a vocal point of the team's offense, and they couldn't get him involved.
Yeah,
I
feel like another Jamison Williams situation. Like, I really hope they can do what the Lions did with Jamison Williams and really get him involved with the scheme. That's just what I hope.
I think it's crazy how you dropped this guy in the 3rd round, and even when the team was sucked, and even when we were out of it, they didn't even make it a point to get him on the field and get him reps.
Because they didn't have an offense that fit him. You need a modern day offense to. You need a modern day. First, Aaron Rodgers wasn't giving anyone else looks except Devontae Adams. Second off, you need a modern day offense to give a guy like that opportunities. When did we see any innovation in the Jets offense last year? Whether it was jet sweeps, whether it was slip screens, whether it was an end around. When did we see that?
We need a better scheme. We need our coaching staff to be better. It all needs to be better, which is why I'm excited to see what this regime can do. From the purify him from the past regime, the past stench that they tried to put on him. So I'm excited to see what we can make out of guys that we have in the past and guys that we took in the later rounds and UDFAs this year.
Next up, Malachi Moore, 2nd team All-SEC this past season, team captain at Alabama for 2 years. Jets trade up with the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles to make Malachi Moore a New York Jets safety, and under the radar position of need I've been talking about for a long, long time. And the Jets get their safety in this year's draft and more. Stingy in coverage last year. Solid run defender, 7 interceptions throughout his 5-year college career. I'm a fan of this pick.
So am I. I really like this pick a lot. I'm going to give it a solid. I think I'm gonna give it a solid B here. Solid B. I really like that.
I forgot to give my grade. B plus.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
B plus.
So, all right, that's fair. Like I said, I'm gonna say a solid B here. I really love that we got a lot of DB depth, especially in the safety position.
Let's keep it going. Like I said, I'm gonna be pulling up the funny comments throughout the show.
So yeah, I gave it a B. I really love that we got our added to the safety position, added to the depth of Tony Adams and Andre Sisco. I just really love this, this pick in general. I think we really needed some depth in this position.
Chris?
When Connor says he likes a pick, they did it. They did well. I'd give this pick an A-. Honestly, I like the player. I like how they drafted a leader. I think that's like definitely what Glenn's looking for, a leader, guy who can lead and really just be a team player. I think that's why one of the main reasons why I have so much confidence in Glenn. I feel like he's building this the right way. But I think this is a guy who was a leader in the transition from Coach Saban to whoever the new head coach was. I mentioned that last night. And yeah, so I'd give this pick an A-. My only complaint is this pick caused them to wait too long on drafting a run stuffing D tackle. That's where I'm at.
It would be an A- for me if they took a run stuffing D tackle and they didn't trade up for him. That, like, people forget they had to give up an extra pick this year to move up for this guy when there were D tackles still on the board. That's the main thought process for me behind why it's not in that A range. But next up, a Samoan-born linebacker selected in the 5th round. That is for Francisco Mauigoa. That's Mauigoa. That's another tough one. A lot of tough names. Azareye'h Thomas, Francisco Mauigoa, Chukwuma Okorafor in free agency. A lot of tough names being added to this team's roster.
Chukwuma Okorafor.
Yes. Mauigoa, though, 4 years at college level, 2 seasons. How was that hard name?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
2 seasons at Washington State. Transferred to Miami for his final 2 college seasons. Led the team in tackles last year, which is solid. For me, though, this is someone who's had surgery on both of his shoulders in the past 2 years. I'm going to give this pick let me see. I give it a D+. There were 2 other stout linebackers on the board when the Jets were selecting in Kobe King and Cody Simon. I've said all along, linebacker 3 was a massive need for this team. First, I don't think this is another guy who was supposed to be a 6th, 7th round pick or go undrafted. Boom, that's number 1. 2, you could have gotten a better linebacker. That's number 2. Next on that list, you use another pick to get you have an opportunity to land a solid run stuffing D tackle, and you whiff there, Chris.
Again, I'm going to trust Glenn to draft defensive players in the later round that he develops into difference makers. We can complain about the specific linebacker they may or may not have selected, but at least they're addressing the position. I mean, that's my main takeaway from it. I'd give this pick not high. I'd give it a C-.
So, Chris, it's like Arian Smith then. That's addressing the wide receiver 2 position.
Yeah, I mentioned how that was way too late for my liking, for all of our liking, for the team's liking. I mean, who's our wide receiver 2? We can't roll in like this. At this point, we have to sign a free agent at wide receiver and D tackle position, and they have to be able to come in and fill the holes that we have. But I like this pick, a linebacker. It's not terrible. You know, these are late round flyers who listen. Good regimes develop them into good players. So listen, this linebacker. I mean, he haven't done my homework on him. Francis Mauigoa. I'll give it a C-.
Jack?
I think you were a little hard on him, right? I get that he had surgery on his shoulders, which are probably the biggest thing for that a linebacker can have. So that obviously creates some decrease in the grade right now. If he didn't, I would give this a solid like C+, B-.
That's solid
in that range.
C+ is solid.
When I meant solid, I meant like definitive, like great. Like that's my grade.
If I got
I'm gonna give it a C, right? Because I think yes, this adds depth to our linebacker position,
right?
But it, like you said, he had surgery on his shoulders, which gives me some concern. But here's the thing: them Samoans are big, man. Like Roman Reigns, maybe acknowledge your tribal chief.
Roman Reigns is great at the activity. He
acknowledge your tribal chief.
The Rock. I mean, all these guys are big. But anyway, solid. I'm gonna give it a C. Just split down the middle. I like the depth, but I'm getting a little concerned about his shoulder injury.
The last draft pick before we move into the UODFAs and go to your questions and take your calls. The best value selection of the entire 2025 NFL draft for the New York Jets. Tyler Barron from Miami. Straight up, this is an A+ for me. Jets did a great job of finding value with their last draft selection. This is someone who spent his first 4 college seasons at Tennessee. Went to spent his last college season in Miami with the Hurricanes. 48 total games in Tennessee. 101 tackles, 28 for loss, 13.5 sacks, 4 pass deflections, and a forced fumble. I mean, the reasons I like this pick, as you guys all know, I believe that edge is still a sneaky position of need for this team, and he's going to provide value as a run defender. Was great against the run off the edge last year. The Jets' edge rushers struggle against the run these past few years, so we'll add that. He's an Aaron Glenn type player, plays with a high motor, has speed, has agility, and let's be real, he has a high floor as a rookie. This is someone who, at the very least, is going to come in on third down, provide you some pass rush juice and run defense value as well, while being a contributor on special teams. I mean, at worst, the Jets took a low-risk swing on an athletic, speedy edge rusher who can play on special teams, and that at best, the Jets have their long-term answer on the outside. Absolutely love this pick from a value perspective, Jack.
I agree. This is a solid A+ for me, right? Especially with the last pick in the draft. You got your defensive end here, especially with Jermaine Johnson coming off this Achilles tear. If anything happens with Johnson again, or if Johnson isn't the same, hopefully Barron can come in and fill his role as our true defensive end too. If Will McDonald, maybe our defensive end 1, if Will McDonald isn't producing the way he did last year, I love this pick, honestly. I really love this pick. So that's a solid A+ for me.
Chris?
I think we need to add edge depth. I'm glad we got a player like Barron. I see you guys talking him up, a Glenn type player. That's what we love to hear, building this team the right way. I'm not as crazy on this pick as you guys are, though. Like, all these players in the later round, like, it just depends on how the coaching staff develops them. It's just flyers on all of them. So, I mean, I'll give this pick a B+. I like the idea of adding edge depth. We're going to need it if the worst case scenario happens at our edge position. We obviously know there's lots of question marks with Jermaine's health and Will McDonald's ability to come in and stuff the run. So I like this pick, develop him long-term into someone who can be a difference maker. It's a broken record. That's what good coaches do. So I'm excited to see what we have in store for this young man.
Your New York Jets 2025 draft class. Jack, what's the overall grade?
I'm gonna give it a solid C minus here. I think
Same
that
here. I said that last night. Same here.
I
1000%.
think I think Membou was a good pick. I think Barron obviously best pick in the draft, I believe. Or no, I don't know, Membou or Barron. I can go either way.
No, you wanted Tyler Warren. How do you?
I did. I'm just saying I'm
the
glad.
best pick
Hold
after
on,
he was the
yes.
guy you wanted.
He wasn't right, but I'm still glad we filled our solid right tackle spot. Right. I'm just saying if we got Ursary, that would have been an A as well. Because we just got our right tackle. I'm just glad we got a tackle in this draft and a solid tackle like Membou. I'm not dissing on Membou one bit. I'm just saying Warren was my number one, right? But overall C minus here. Arian Smith, not the guy I really wanted at receiver. I really wanted Trey Harris, as you guys all know. Again, Azareye'h, however you say his first name, Thomas.
Azareye'h.
Yeah, Azareye'h Thomas, not really a position I had in mind, not the guy I had in mind. A little disappointing. Mason Taylor, again, not really the guy I had in mind at 42. So I think it's, a little more towards the bad side. So I'm going to give it a solid C minus.
Appreciate you tuning in. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Throw all your questions in for us. We'll get to those. Pinned comment if you want to call into the show. Super chats, memberships go a long way. Every $2.99 super chat or gifted membership will earn you a raffle entry. Let's get into some of the UDFAs before we go over to the phone lines and take your questions. Jack, top 3 UDFA signings.
Donovan Edwards, definitely number one. I'm gonna go. Who's the German player that we signed?
I have no idea what his name is. He's a tackle, though.
Yeah, I think I like that pick, and I haven't really gotten a chance to follow up on the rest of them.
Chris?
So the receiver we signed that we were talking about had like something crazy, average 22
yards per catch.
So that's number one. I said Donovan Edwards is 2, then Brady Cook's 3.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot about Brady Cooks. Yeah.
I'd probably have to put it in the same order as Chris. I mean, Quentin Skinner is someone who's 6'4", 203 pounds, has okay speed, but I mean, this is someone who averages 22 yards per catch. He's going to bring some juice over the summer for this receiving room. Number 2 for me, I'm going to have to go with Brady Cook. This is the guy who has prototypical arm strength for the NFL level, has mobility, has that build that you want to see in an NFL quarterback. Brady Cook has the chance to develop into something more than just a camp body. Brady Cook at number 2 for me, and then number 3 has to be Donovan Edwards, someone who averaged 7 yards per carry during the 2022 season. He has the juice in him. When is he going to show that at a consistent level? That's the biggest thing. Those are my top 3 UDFAs. Let's go over to the phone lines, and we'll get into your questions in the chat in a little bit. Indy Jets is first up here on the show. Indy, how are you?
Good evening, guys. So, I know that you guys wanted a...
Oh. All right, there we go, Indy. We got you. Let me just
well, when you want to stop...
We got you, though. Keep talking.
Are you there?
Yeah. You hear us?
Okay. Yeah, so you want a big-bodied run stuffer. But when you want to when a team wants to stop the run, they just load the box up, right?
Correct.
I mean, you know that, Connor.
Yeah.
So to be able to load the box up against teams, you got to be able to trust your corners to go one-on-one. And now we've got 3 corners out there. You put Sauce, you put these new, you put these guys, you can trust, you can leave them out and you stack the box. I think that was the right pick for what Aaron Glenn wants to do. He wants to just leave these corners and let them go one-on-one, and we're going to bring that roll of safety up, and we're going to run 7, 8 in the box and do it and stop the run as a team effort instead of trying to get if we had gotten a Mason Graham, would he have really helped the defense?
Not at all.
If we can't take,
he's under 300 pounds. Absolutely not.
Okay, so what Aaron Glenn's is going to do is just say, look, we drafted guys that I've got to trust to go no matter who it is, whether we're going against Cincinnati this year and we've got Jamar Chase on one end and Higgins on the other side. We've got to trust the corners to give us 5 seconds if they're going to pass and we're going to rush the quarterback, or we're stopping him. But we're putting 8 in the box and literally daring them to pass against these corners. So I agree with that pick. Now let's go to that wide receiver that you guys all gave terrible grades against.
Who, Smith?
C-, right? I think yes. Nobody gave a good grade to him. Correct.
Correct.
No.
I give
All
it a
right,
solid pick. I don't consider it terrible. I don't think it's a terrible pick. I'd say it's average to slightly above average.
Appreciate you, Jay Quest.
Right.
Well, Chris,
now,
above average would be a B. You gave it like a C minus.
I gave it
Yeah,
C to
and-
C
and-
around that.
so he was
Yeah.
picked. He was picked at 110. And I'm going. And if you compare a similar guy coming out of college with the same problems, you take St. Brown out of Detroit. When he was coming out of USC, they said about this kid, he had lack of focus, which affected his number of drops. All right. AG and that crew, I don't think, AG didn't necessarily have a hand in it, but he was involved. The crew that he's got, and the same thing with JMO, he had drop issues. They've already shown that they can fix this problem.
That isn't the only thing, though.
So if you take Smith and you take all his drops away from him, now does that fit more into? Oh, okay, maybe he's a high end that doesn't drop the ball. Now do you change your grade?
Not that much. He's still my biggest thing is he forced 5 missed tackles last year. This is a guy who's supposed to be known for his speed. Get him downfield on a seam. He's supposed to be the guy breaking tackles. All I'm hearing is how he has all this value on the gadget plays, the end around things.
Connor,
like that.
he's supposed to be used for a deep, as a deep threat too. Like you just
5 missed tackles.
hit him on a deep post.
Now, I also stop and think too. He was also on a Georgia team that wasn't really known for a high-powered offense. They were known for their strength of defense and low-scoring games. Right? I mean, that's just what the Georgia teams were built on. So that 600 yards that he got and led the team in yardage last year, and isn't very much, but that just shows how little of an offense that they had. If you'd have put him on the Georgia quarterbacks were horrible.
Yeah, one thing I will add, Indy, the reason I have a lower grade on him is because the overall value there was the biggest thing. When I'm grading these picks, value is my biggest thing. If they got Jalen Royals with that pick, it would have been an A+ for me. Because I think you got an established receiver who can get contested catches for you, and it's great value. I don't think taking someone in the 4th round who is widely regarded to be selected in the 6th or 7th, or heck, maybe even go undrafted, is great value with a top 115 pick.
Well, I think that AG, because they've already fixed 2 wide receivers with the same problem. I mean, if he turned into a Amon St. Brown, would you be happy?
Yes, but I don't think that's going to happen.
But they also didn't think that was going to happen with St. Brown and JMO either. All I'm saying is they've done it twice before. And so in the coach's mind, they're probably thinking, hey, we can do it again. We already have the program. We already know how to fix this kid. And if we get him here, his ceiling is higher than Jalen Royals. I would say the ceiling.
I like
for
the
me,
thought process.
Maybe.
It's in AG we trust. That's in AG we have to trust. That's well.
Yeah, if you compare where they are right now, absolutely, Royals is far and above Smith where he's at right now. But I think that maybe they're thinking we fix this problem. This guy's ceiling is going to be higher than what Royals could be. So I don't know. That's just they've already done it twice. Why not do it a 3rd time?
Yeah. I like the thought process.
You just gotta what AG is known for, and that's what he did on defense, is make good players great and great players even better. So if he thinks he can turn this guy into a St. Brown type of player, man, I gotta believe him. Even if I don't see it, I gotta believe they've already done it once. Show me who you are and I'll believe you. Well, they've shown me. So now it's our turn to just say, okay, I may not see it, but I'll believe you.
Andy, we appreciate the call. You got any final thoughts?
All right. Thanks, guys. Keep it up.
Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Indy Jets checking in with us here on the show. Always fun. chopping
Connor,
up.
what's this? What's
with
his name?
Indy.
What's his name tag that I got right now?
You put that on. I just had to turn the headlines on because we had a caller on, so I always do that when the when
My
the
closet though. Why'd you switch it to closet?
you had that. I didn't switch it.
I did not. Switch it.
Anyways, we appreciate you all. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, throw your questions in the chat for us. Keep it coming with the calls. We'll get to those in a little. Let's head into all of our questions in the chat, though. Keep them coming. Super chats, memberships go a long way. Earn you raffle entries. Tuca Lake Jet fan with his 4-month member super chat. Solid draft, 3 starters, and safety could be 2. Who are the 3 starters? Membou, Taylor, and Thomas.
The corner.
I think Stevens is starting.
But like, Stevens is better.
No, starting. I think he's starting.
I don't even know what they're going to do with Stevens. This is the thing.
I think people look too far into.
I mean, let's be real. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off there.
You're good.
Good teams that contend for Super Bowls every year. I mean, let's not act like this is crazy. Good teams that contend for Super Bowls get starters at the top 75 every single draft.
Yeah.
And then turn day 3 picks into all pros. That's what good teams do. I don't get why that's so crazy.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is I think people are looking too far into the Stevens contract on how it's a multi-year deal, like automatically penciling him in as a starter. I mean, I think that what that means is they look at this guy as someone that's gonna take time to develop, but they really like what his ceiling could be
How is he gonna take time to develop? He's been in the league for 4 years. You either have it or you don't.
They just want to do more work on him. That's what I look at that as.
Let's see, how long has Brandon Stevens been in the NFL? Yeah, 4 years.
Connor, I think you gotta switch me and Chris around.
Oh, of course you're looking at the nameplate rather actually answering the question.
Yeah, I just thought I'd just say that real quick.
Frank, great show, guys. First time tuning in. I love the Malachi Moore pick. I think he has a chance to start year 1. Safety room is so weak, so probably.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, I like a safety room.
I like the pick.
I like the Andre Cisco.
And I appreciate the support too.
And I appreciate it for.
Gotcha. I like the Andre Cisco signing, and I really like the Malachi Moore pick too. I like how we address our safety room. I think they did it at a perfect time. I wish we would have got D tackle in this draft, but I think Malachi Moore. I think our safety room, there's more confidence to be had after the draft and maybe what they're going to do in post draft free agency. But I like a room of Andre Cisco, Tony Adams, and then this guy. Lots of young guys who still they have time to develop, time to really show what they have improved. Getting reps is going to be meaningful to these guys. So I'm excited to see how our safety room plays out this year.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, Andre Cisco, there's upside. I don't like the signing. I don't like signing unproven guys. It's the bottom line.
You need it to be proven. You need the data to be right in front of you. I get it. But there's upside to be had with all these players, and good coaching fixes all of that. Good coaching develops players. You cannot deny that.
Mason Taylor, Zach equals Zach Ertz says.
I'm fine with that.
I love.
I remember saying Mason Taylor equals Jeremy Rucker. That's a pretty big.
I think that was someone else. I think that might have been Jimmy Jets actually.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not a big Taylor fan. I don't think he's Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz was way more of a polished receiver. Like, let's go in and look at Ertz.
His 2017 season was great, especially that game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Ertz, though, college numbers was far more productive his final season. Was way more productive in the red zone. The thing with Taylor is he wasn't even productive.
One thing I will say is LSU is wide receiver university. A tight end is not going to shine in that school. They're known for their wide receivers. So this guy wasn't even.
Okay, who was the wide receiver one last year?
Again, they're developing wide receivers. It's wide receiver university. Again, sometime in the next 2 years, there's going to be a top wide receiver coming from LSU. You already know it. But the thing is, Harold Fannin is on a shitty Bowling Green team. He's the vocal point of their offense. Of course, he's going to have good stats. Put Mason Taylor on Bowling Green. He goes crazy. He goes nuts. I know you're going to say, it's always if scenarios, but you have to consider this. True. I mean, it's just obvious.
The highlights tell you that?
I tell you what, that had to do with nothing there. That had nothing to do with anything. I read up on all these players. I watch them play as much as I can. I go back and try to watch as many games. And in this college season, I'll be taping especially quarterbacks. I cannot wait to evaluate Nussmeier, Nico, my guys.
Oh, Chris.
Alan, you guys seem to be sharp. At least I'm confident in one of you.
Where is the
$36 million free agent playing this fall? I think cornerback. People are saying safety.
Yeah,
you don't pay a cornerback $36 million.
Yeah, he's playing corner.
I don't care where he plays. They obviously have a plan for him. They want to obviously do some work on him, given the contract. So I'm excited to see what they have in store. Again, in Glenn, I trust. I'll say it a million times.
Frank comes in again. A great thing about our first two picks of Membou Taylor, they're both 20 years old. Taylor, 2 full years younger than Warren. I like that.
That's one of the upsides. I mean,
It
I would have
doesn't
rather
justify a pick for me, though.
I would have rather seen him pick Warren, but I love how we're getting some young guys. You know, it again gives him so much more time. If you think about it, people might think that doesn't make that much of a difference. It's a whole year, so it does make that much of a difference. Going into the year that they're ready for the 4th-year option, these guys will be 24. Garrett is already 24, so it's just crazy to think about.
I can't wait for until Will Howard starts in Pittsburgh this season.
We're gonna be playing it against
Oh
him this
God!
year.
Doesn't matter.
Will Howard is going to reap the benefits of learning under Rodgers. Seriously, though,
Rodgers isn't even going to go there.
Yeah,
Rodgers
Rodgers
is
isn't
gonna
even there
retire.
yet.
I think he will.
He's going to retire. I don't think they have time for Rodgers in Pittsburgh. I just think they're ready to turn the page. They don't have time for all of his antics, the luggage that he brings
What
along.
about Indianapolis? You think?
What? No, I don't think he's going. I don't think
AR-15, baby. AR-15.
I don't think he's playing on a team. I don't think he's playing anywhere.
I think that's crazy. I think he'll end up somewhere. I think he'll probably be Pittsburgh.
Who's going to want him?
Pittsburgh.
Why would they want him?
They need a quarterback.
I don't know, solid mentor. I think they have like really no mentors besides Mason Rudolph right now, especially to develop a rookie.
Mason Rudolph.
I mean, may not even.
The only thing Mason Rudolph can mentor him with is how to get hit in the head by a helmet. Like Mason Rudolph isn't doing shit. They need Rodgers in that room so bad.
Harold Fannin, Zachary. Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling. I actually didn't even want a tight end in the second round, honestly. I wanted Jalen Noel or
Harris.
I wanted Noel. Higgins wasn't there. I was on board with Noel in the second.
But again, if we didn't pick tight end in the second, where are we getting it?
Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm, who was way better than Mason Taylor.
In
Far
your
better.
eyes. You
Same
don't know that.
same blocking ability, far more productive as a receiver, more developed. Coming from
We don't know what any of these guys are going to be. We could say someone's a surefire, like Trevor Lawrence was
he's
supposed
not
to
a
be generational.
surefire. He's a better chance of panning out.
Possible.
You also have to think about the scheme.
Brendan, I wanted AO Minor. They are not the same player. Alec Illuminor, Aminor. They're not the. He's from Stanford. They're not the same player. Only Burry picks when I can't see the vision. Smith could be a very useful asset. Let's see how he's utilized. Again, Royal, there was no value there. It wasn't a good value pick.
I agree with Brendan on the Smith party. Very useful asset. I don't really know about the Mayo guy. But I think Smith was a solid pick, and I'm excited to see how they use him.
Yeah, I get that. Let's see. Brenton again. They should have signed CJ Dupree, tight end from Alabama. Ruckert counting on Ruckert to develop is a mistake. I don't think Ruckert's roster, but I don't like the way they hand. They still don't have a blocking tight end. They don't have anyone who can block.
Jackson Hawes was ours.
No, I don't. There was far better value with Jalen Conyers as a UDFA. I like Hawes more, but I think there was better value. Like, you literally could have gotten someone who was a stout blocker last year. By the way, played college quarterback. Started 2 games
Just
in
like
college.
Tyler Warren.
No, because Tyler Warren never started the college game. This guy started the game, threw for over 200 yards, and led his team to a win in 2023 against UCLA.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to get more bodies in the tight end room, especially for a blocking tight end to help out that personnel.
Yeah, definitely. John comes in with another gifted membership. John, thank you so much.
Let's go, John. Appreciate it.
Your support here on the show, as always, John. You are the best, my man. Allen says the key to the tight end room is if Engstrand can turn Smart into a true out wide tight end. Ruckert is so useless. Chris?
Yeah, Ruckert is obviously useless. There's basically no hope left for him, and I consider myself a hopeful fan at this time of the year.
You're hopeful?
Chris, like I said last night, set your expectations low and you'll get hurt less.
Yeah, that's unfortunately not possible. I can't set my expectations low, just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, Ruckert is obviously useless. Engstrand is going to determine so much of this offense's success. Like and I think Engstrand has a huge safety blanket for him. We have we should have a good run game. We have so much talent in the running back room, and obviously we spent so many first round picks on offensive line. So we should have a good run block and a good rushing attack. So that's a huge safety blanket for a first time offensive coordinator and a really just a key to the scheme this year. So it's going to be a run first offense, and I'm excited to see how we are and how we use that this year.
Jack?
Only thing I'm really concerned about with Smart here is because he doesn't really have that much starting experience here especially with the Chargers, right? And I'm a little concerned that I really wanted I get Tyler Warren doesn't have any starting experience in the NFL, but at least that there's some things in him that I really like that I think he can bring over to the NFL. Stone Smart, obviously I'll give him a chance. It's just I would have liked to see a little more starts out of him to be comfortable.
NY Jets super fan. We needed a DT wide receiver, and we got none worth anything. Completely agree.
I agree 100%. That's why
agree.
That's why the draft was so low. An A+ draft for me would have been Warren at 7, Troy Harris at 42, and Ozzie Trapillo in the 3rd, and then you just grab some defensive depth along the way
tackle?
from there. What? Yeah, Ozzie Trapillo is a tackle in the 3rd.
Oh, my bad.
That would have been an A+ draft
Restrepo.
because you had addressed your.
Restrepo went undrafted. I think Restrepo is still available.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's so slow.
Oh, wow.
He was one of the most overrated players this whole. I was thinking about putting him in my article, but I was like, we signed with the Titans yesterday.
I signed with the Titans. Yeah, I mean that's Cam Ward's bud. So I mean,
yeah, good point.
That was a Cam Ward signing, but by the way, a team that I think had a really good draft was the Giants. Like they had such a good draft.
Completely agree.
Yeah, Bill Carter at 3.
But
wait, Shador and Dillon going to the Browns, that's something I don't get.
Again, that's a smart, young, innovative GM who drafts the best player available.
Yeah, I disagree. We know this, but the Browns. This is exactly what the Browns.
What about Shador Sanders is so bad?
Because the way that he was falling, like if the Jets would have picked him, like he would have just.
Oh, I didn't want anything to do with Shador, given the fact that what was I going to say the luggage that's going to come with him. I have no doubt about him being a great player.
No doubt about him being a great player.
In the 5th round with 5th round value.
With none, I wasn't considering the value. You just said you had no doubt he's gonna be a great player straight up.
Yeah, but I referenced the value earlier, like 5th round value.
I don't care about the value. I'm not taking a Shador, especially in our scenario where we don't need a quarterback at all.
Alan, talk that Noah Fant might be shipped out of Seattle. Unsure if they could end up cutting him. He'd be a nice veteran pass. I like Mark Andrews as a veteran pass catcher on the trade block. Score touchdowns. Dallas Goedert's another one. Cheap value. I'd be open to that for sure.
Yeah, the question is, I don't know if they would do that considering how old Mark Andrews is, and they're obviously they made their personality, if you will, signing younger guys and betting on upside and betting on their ability to develop players. So I don't know if Mark Andrews is in the cards. Noah Fant, I don't know how old he is. I know who he is, though. I also don't know how old he is. But getting more tight ends in this room is obviously a need. So I'd be open 100% to adding more bodies.
Start to wind down here. So 4 more questions we're going to get to before we wrap up the show, almost an hour. And guys, we have super, super exciting plans for this whole show starting tomorrow. Just stay tuned for that. Should be first. We could share, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
are we allowed to publicly
pulling a Jack on the Jake Asman show, announcing this whole
God.
show. That was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just prep. Let me get something pulled up here quickly before we. In the meantime, as I pull this up, Chris, respond.
Chris is putting way too much faith in both a front office and a coaching staff who have done absolutely nothing. That's fair. That's fair to say. I like the way Glenn and Muji have approached free agency. I think not overpaying for a bunch of old heads who are obviously washed is a step in the right direction. I feel like Jet fans are so corrupted by the way.
Rodgers back?
That has to do with nothing I said, but I'm just gonna continue there. The way they went about it. I mean, not signing old wash free agents. I think that seriously speaks to how they're building it and how they're signing players who are, team players, locker room guys who are not divas. Don't mention Roger, I swear to God.
Yeah, you don't want divas.
But you just the character of players they're bringing in is really speaks to how they're building this, and they're not overpaying for a bunch of old wash free agents. Hence Hassan Reddick and Arian Smith. So I like how we're not.
You love those signings at the time.
Oh, for sure. No one was happier about that than me, honestly.
I think everyone loved Hassan Reddick at the time.
Exactly. When we're not happy, we're doing well. Because when we're not happy, they're building it the right way. When we are happy, they're just doing shit to please.
No, they're just never building it the right way. They haven't done it.
We've been rebuilding
the
for
most
the past
pessimistic
15 years.
fan, bro. You guys are all too pessimistic. That's where I draw a line, Connor.
I think I'd rather call it realistic.
Let me give you a few reasons why you're wrong, Connor Long.
Anyways,
we've been rebuilding the last 15 years.
Anyways, I got the link up. So, starting tomorrow, content coming out first day. We're officially doing our own The Next Gen Jet Show YouTube channel, daily content, multiple long form videos between us and obviously Josh. I'll be in there as well. We're gonna probably keep the live shows on this channel for a little. We might do a simulcast, but I'm going to throw the link in there. Please, there's going to be daily Jets content. There's going to be a show that comes out every morning at 7 a.m. There's going to be a show that comes out every day at 1 p.m. Short social media posts, mix in between. I'm going to throw the link in the chat. Please, please, please sub to the channel. Just threw the link in the chat. Pop over there quickly. Shoot us a sub. Come back over here. First video coming tomorrow. So please support us over there if you do enjoy the content. I'll keep the comment up. So super excited for that. Definitely, that is starting tomorrow. So we appreciate you guys. As always, first they're gonna start off as pre-recorded shows, but you guys, we're gonna set up like you guys could do voicemails and stuff. We're gonna do mailbag questions. They're gonna start off as pre-recorded. Then once we start gaining subscribers, that's when we're gonna start implementing the live shows over there. But please, please, please subscribe, comment right there for daily Jets content. Appreciate your support. As always, 3 questions left and we're gonna wind down. John Corley's study habits and attitude kept him off the field. Coaching didn't want to reward him with playing time. Chris is the Malachi Corley truther. So what do you got?
That could very well be true. And study habits and attitude. That's why I was against drafting a guy like Ted McMillan, who's bound to have the same issues. But
how is he bound to have the same issues? Please elaborate.
Because what does John mean when he has study habits? Watching film. He doesn't watch film. See, as a football player, you either have it or you don't.
Well, okay. How do you know he doesn't watch film?
How do I know who doesn't watch film?
Ted McMillan.
He said he does not enjoy watching film. As a player, you either had that mentality or you don't. That's watching mentality or you don't.
Okay. First, it was in his freshman year of college with some nerd nagging him in a cafeteria. So again, that's a reason you don't want to draft him. Okay, we'll say that. Terrell Owens, Chris, consider Terrell
reference.
Do you consider Terrell Owens one of the best wide receivers in NFL history?
Yeah.
Notoriously hated watching film.
Sometimes
watching film.
Sometimes if you had that much talent, you don't even need to put in work. That's something I know it's not a relevant reference. This is like a LaMelo Ball NBA type where he has like all the talent in the world but puts in absolutely zero work. But the thing is, players with no talent and put in so much work.
He has no talent?
No, you wouldn't let me finish. Players with less talent who are hard workers and who spend all day in the film and love football are the players who are truly going to succeed. Jet fans are going to hate this reference. Trust me, no one hates the Patriots more than me. But Tom Brady is a player who is obviously not gifted, not the strongest arm. Obviously, we all know not the most athletic, not the most built, but his mentality, his leadership, that's what made him so great. That's why he is the greatest player at the quarterback position of all time. Not pure passer, but the greatest player at the quarterback position because of his mentality, leadership, and his just love for the game, studying film all day, knowing where everybody on the field is. You cannot teach that. That's a mentality. You either have it or you don't. That's what's so great about players. So that's the type of mindset Glenn is looking for, playing for his teammates, never going to give up, not looking for any divas anymore, and saying that could have been the reason why they got rid of Rodgers or not. I don't know. Either way, Glenn is building this the right way, and we should all be excited.
AG is going to fix Clemens. Honestly, I might be in the minority here.
I hope.
I wouldn't hate keeping Michael Clemens over the summer just to see what he has. Maybe he's just an extra body if you can't give him a chance over the summer, I'd say.
Especially if we're going to go
at most an extra body. I mean, Connor had to I'm going to say I don't even know, but Connor's love for Michael Clemens.
I do not love Michael Clemens.
At most, just another body. I mean, if AG can fix Clemens, AG can fix literally anything. We love AG around here. I believe in AG more than basically. AG is the way AG has gone about everything has made me so confident. Until we're proven wrong, I had to assume that they are wrong, especially since I want offensive mind to be the head coach.
I disagree that I have to assume they are wrong, but they have to prove their
So one thing I will say about the offensive mind is I didn't care if this coach be hired as an offensive or defensive mind. Excuse me. We needed a guy who is a disciplinarian, a guy who's a leader of men to the max, and a guy who's going to instill the culture and hold guys accountable. I don't care if that guy happens to be an offensive or defensive mind. We just need a leader of men, a Dan Campbell type head coach, which is exactly why Aaron Glenn clicks like this, with what the Jets needed personality wise as head coach. This is a perfect fit, and I cannot wait to see how we go about ourselves this year.
Ryan, Amari Cooper, and Keenan Allen.
Amen. Go get one of them.
No.
Hey.
Talk about overpaying.
Their age is a little
overpaying for washed players.
We need a wide
receiver. I would like to get a receiver, but I feel like their age is a big factor in this. Their age and their price, I feel like, is a big factor.
What are these guys?
I would love to get a receiver.
Is Amari Cooper like 29 or is he older?
No, he's older. I think Keenan is. I think they're both in their early 30s.
Keenan Allen's
both in their early 30s.
Keenan Allen. How is Amari Cooper?
He's probably
around the same age.
I'd say Cooper's 32. Yeah, no, he's 30.
All right, so get Amari Cooper on a 1 year deal. Get Justin Fields.
Amari Cooper hasn't played more than last year. Amari Cooper, 2024, 14 games, 10 starts, 85 targets, 44 receptions, 547 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Is that worth $13 million a season?
$13 million a season? No, but we might have to pay a little bit more than than what would be the right value to ensure that we have a wide receiver too that's reliable in order to ensure
he's not reliable.
A chance. Amari Cooper is reliable.
How much does Justin Fields throw the ball that we need to get every single
exactly? But I understand that point 100%. But if Justin Fields is going to become the future of this franchise, we want him to develop into that kind of player.
He hasn't shown he's been able to pass though throughout his career. So why?
Exactly, we're going to see this year. He's going to get a chance this year.
Yes, he hasn't for the past 5 seasons.
So yeah, we will see. You're more of an evidence guy.
How many throwing touchdowns for
guy?
I don't know.
I think Justin Fields has the potential to do great things. I just don't think he will. Yeah. Okay, Jack, I want to go back. We're done with all the questions, so we kind of have some just chill time here before we we wrap up the show to just rant about something. Okay, what do you think Justin Fields' ceiling is as a quarterback this season, Jack?
Oh God!
In terms of
no, Chris. Let me.
Guys, tell him what a ceiling is first. Tell him what a ceiling is first.
He knows. We've tried to explain it to him. It's not gonna get in the okay. So
in
Jack,
terms of
just you, I need a number 1 through 32. Everything goes right. Justin Fields plays to what you view as his ceiling. What you view as his ceiling.
Jack,
where does he rank among NFL quarterbacks?
All right, let's see. So the top 5, if everything goes right, is obviously Mahomes.
I just need a number. We don't.
Just a number.
All right, 11.
Okay, 11.
Everything goes right.
Okay, 11. Perfect. So pretty much top 10, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
if he plays to his full potential, then yes, I think he has the caliber to be the top 10 quarterback.
Top 10 quarterback. So if Justin Fields is a top 10 quarterback this season, and what do you think the ceiling for the Jets defense is?
They're always going to be in the top 10 conversation for me. I think if coached right and if they have a good scheme, let's see. Linebacker, I think that's solid. Defensive line, that's solid.
Just ceiling. How they rank among the league?
5th. Or no,
okay.
Sorry, 4th.
Okay, so if the Jets defense is top 4 in the league, and Justin Fields is a top 10 quarterback, the Jets are winning 7 games according to your logic. Is that true?
Okay, I think. All right,
adjust your ceiling. It's not too late.
All right. I could see that I was wrong. I was actually thinking about it the other day. Thinking about it. All right, ceiling. If we're talking everything goes right, let's say Breece Hall has a 1,000-yard season. Justin Fields has a great season. Then we're 9-8. I want to say 9-8.
9-8.
I think it's 11-6 for me.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting past 10.
People say I'm pessimistic. My ceiling's 11-6, but my floor is 4-13.
Who knows? It can flip flop.
You're really pessimistic in the aspect that you're never willing to give any benefit of the doubt. You're not willing to you need evidence to be rock
how is that pessimistic? That's just realistic. That's not pessimistic. That's just realistic.
Ceiling is 9-8.
Realistic
At best, it's 9-8. I think.
You're too
I'm too
realistic.
real. That's actually a great compliment. I appreciate that. You're too
Yeah,
realistic.
Listen, you're welcome.
That's a compliment.
You're
Set the
welcome.
bar.
Do not say that. I'm
Let's
not
hope we
saying
have
that-
another 2022 first
I'm
half
just saying-
season.
I'm just saying that the passionate fan in me does not allow me to be realistic. Like be realistic. I try to be realistic.
Do
I'm
other
realistic,
people affect your
I'm-
actions?
but I'm saying like I'm talking through things that could happen and looking at through the best case scenario. And sometimes we have the worst case scenario does come to fruition, unfortunately. But
That
with
was
good-
me last year. That was me last offseason.
With good coaching, you cannot tell me that this team doesn't have the chance to go 9-8. You cannot tell me that. If Glenn is a good coach,
They have a chance. I think they're going 7-10 or 8-9.
I
I
said 6
think
and 11.
I think there's a big difference between going 7-10 and going 8-9.
I
Yeah,
think
me
that
too,
the
me too.
floor is I think the floor is 5-12.
Floor's fourth. No, floor's. If everything goes wrong, the floor is like 3-14. I think.
If we go 3-14, I want Glenn fired.
If everything goes wrong, right? If everything goes wrong, Brees Hall and still has trouble with vision. Brees Hall, speed, all that. If Garrett Wilson's getting triple team, we don't get a true wide receiver too. Justin Fields can't throw, or let's just say Justin Fields also has trouble running. Our defense is struggling again with a lot of the run this year. Then 3-14 for 3-14.
If we go 3-14, it's gonna be a rough season dealing with me every Sunday, bro. If we go 3-14, that's an absolute nightmare. That's a season from hell.
We'll end with a fun one. Paul
Connor, yeah,
Costa,
I was
Chris
just about to ask
Grosso,
you to put out
you
that
need a
comment.
haircut. What's your nickname? Shaggy?
I literally
Oh,
said
you should
that.
actually seen him with the fluff. Paul, you should have seen him with the fluff.
I said that right before we hopped on. I was like, oh shit, I need a haircut. Yeah, so by the time we get to next week, I will have the haircut.
Yes, there we go. There we go. Anyways, that'll do it
Connor,
for
take
us.
the hat off. Connor, take the hat off. Take the hat off, please.
Take the hat off. All right, hat hair.
Oh.
Let's
There we
go.
That's some true hat hair to wrap up the.
I'm jealous of your hair, Connor. You got thin hair. I really.
It's
I wish I
extra
had that.
thick.
Holy shit. It's in
That
my
my
eye.
hair is thick. Look at this. I wish I
Yeah,
had
this
thin
is
hair.
what I look like, an unmitigated disaster after you pull a hat off and put nothing in your hair.
Fluff powder. Put the fluff powder in your hair.
I think I
Chris,
I think I
Chris,
finished that.
Police
Kent
officer.
Clark. Indy Jets says Kent Clark is his name now. Ever since you called Clark Kent Clark.
Clark Kent Clark. I'm not a Marvel or DC fan. My bad on that one. I do enjoy Teen Titans Go though. That's a W show. You should
Oh
all go
yeah,
watch.
that's a W show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a huge Batman guy though. Batman's my. I love
Yeah, that's why you call him to the Charles Batman. Hey, lucky
When
to
we're-
have you.
I
when we're
love chopping
talking
up some
about-
Batman with
When
Charles.
we're talking about superheroes, I think that's an indicator of maybe we should wrap up the show, perhaps over an hour.
I think I
Yeah,
got it.
appreciate you.
For CL.
We appreciate you guys as always. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Another edition of Next Gen Jets in the books. Again, new channel
Oh,
coming,
yeah.
daily content there. I'm going to drop it in the chat one more time. Please go over, sub, show our support for us over there. We appreciate you guys big time. As always, smash the like, hit subscribe. Chris, any final thoughts?
Yeah, but it's just always great hopping out with you boys doing the show. It's been so fun. Obviously, I'm viewed as an optimist. I don't even think so that much. I'm in the middle, honestly. I'm mostly realistic. When the season rolls around,
That's crazy.
but when the season rolls around, you're gonna see how much I end up hating us. But listen, hopefully we'll be good this year. Hopefully we won't have to worry about that. I think with good coaching, Justin Fields will be fine. Draft Nussmeier next year. We are in a good spot. Did Jack just fall off his chair?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing? You got any final thoughts, Jack?
Yeah. Other than my chair is slippery, then yeah.
Oh my god.
I enjoy doing this with you guys every week. Love you boys, and yeah, I'm excited to start the new channel.
For sure. Tomorrow I'm going to drop it one more time. Please sub to us over there. Smash the like button. Hit subscribe. That'll do it for us. Another edition of Next Gen Jets in the books. Jack Cotter, Chris Grosso. I'm your host, Connor Long, signing off. Everyone have a good night here on this Sunday.
Chris, start this Jets chant. Let's go.
And we will
to
catch
end it
you
off.
next
I
time.
got you. Whoa, J-E-T-S. Jets.
Peace out. Everyone have a good night, and we will see you next time.
Fall off your chair.
I'm not falling off my chair again. Clickbait. It's gonna be clickbait, and it seems like I'm desperate. All right. Connor, come on, man.